Hello everyone, and welcome to week 7 of English 120. This week we're going to be reading The Valley of the Moon. We're going to be kicking off our novel written by Jack London. You're going to read chapters 1 through 4 in book 1 and answer the study questions that I'll be providing. Please make sure you answer the study questions as part of your active reading. You can write it right into the book itself, or you can write it on a separate piece of paper with your active reading notes. I will be checking those in our next conference. And speaking of conferences, it was so wonderful to meet so many of you in my office. If I did not meet with you, please make sure you contact me as soon as possible. This week we're also going to be watching a wonderful video by Professor Cecilia Ticci on Jack London. It's approximately 1 hour. There will be no comp class this week. We'll resume comp class next week. You're going to turn in your revised narrative essay, and there will be a place for that under this week's content. You're also going to be writing in your research journal and responding to the video that you're going to be watching. And this week our conversation is on the world of the Valley of the Moon, and it's worth double points. It's worth 20 points this week, so please make sure you put a lot of effort into this one. So I want to introduce to you Jack London. I know that we've already been reading Jack London, you've already been getting to know Jack London, but now we're going to get to know him a little bit more deeply. And I wanted to share my favorite quotation from Jack London. "Who will reap what I have sown here in this almighty sweet land? You and I will be forgotten. Others will come and go. These too shall pass, as you and I shall pass, and others take their places, each telling his love as I tell you that life is sweet." We're going to begin reading The Valley of the Moon this week. This novel was written in 1913, and London wrote The Valley of the Moon during a particularly troubling period of his life. He and Charmian had recently lost their child, Joy, shortly after her birth, due to complications with her delivery. And they were in the midst of building their own dream house in the Valley of the Moon, called Wolf House. Building Wolf House had stretched their finances to nearly breaking. Before writing The Valley of the Moon, Jack took his second wife, Charmian, with him on a 4-horse trip visiting many of the sites that appear in the novel. From the start, London promoted his novel, The Valley of the Moon, as a love story with a back-to-the-land motif. The novel is structured as a heroic quest for love. And just in case you don't know what a heroic quest is, think a knight going out on a quest to kill a dragon so that he can get the princess. So think Shrek, that's a heroic quest. This is a different version of that. A heroic quest for love, land, and a home. And it was written during a period of time when Jack was consciously experiencing and exploring his own yearnings for love, land, and a home. He outlined the plot of the novel to his editors at Macmillan and Cosmopolitan in letters written on the 30th of May, 1911. And so you notice that he's planning to publish this book in 2 separate places. First, he's going to serialize it in Cosmopolitan, and yes, it's the same Cosmopolitan magazine that you can currently pick up on the newsstand today. He would sell, for 6 to 8 months, he would sell chunks of the story serialized to Cosmopolitan, and then collect them all up together and sell them as a book to Macmillan and get double profit on his work. But from the very beginning, he knew exactly what he wanted this book to be about. Remember, it's published in 1913. In May of 1911, this is what he said the book was going to be about. Take a man and a woman, young, who belong to the working class in a large city. Both are wage workers. The man is unskilled, a driver of a brewery wagon or something of that sort. The first third of the book will be devoted to their city environment, their meeting, their love affair, and the trials and tribulations of such a marriage in the working class. Comes hard times. The woman gets the vision. She is the guiding force. They start wandering penniless over the country of California. Of course, they have all sorts of adventures, and their wandering becomes a magnificent, heroic, detailed pilgrimage. After many hints and snatches of vision, always looking for the spot, they do find the real, one and only spot, and settle down to successfully small-scale farming. And this quotation is from a letter in the Letters of Jack London. And here's the citation for where you can find those letters. So, what I'd like you to do is to begin by watching Professor Cecilia Ticci's video on Jack London. You only need to watch the first hour or so. There's going to be a lady that starts off that's not Cecilia Ticci, and you can kind of skip her introduction. And then Cecilia Ticci will start talking, and she's going to set the scene for the time period when Jack London was writing. So please make sure you give yourself some time to sit down and watch this video. And I highly recommend having the study questions for the video in front of you, and I'm going to go over those right now. So in your research journal this week, you're going to answer the following questions about the video. What percentage of Americans were reading Jack London during the era he was writing? Why does Professor Ticci think Jack London's work has fallen off of college syllabi? So why aren't people teaching Jack London at the college level anymore? Why does she think we should consider Jack London as a public intellectual? Who do you think is a modern writer who is a public intellectual? What is a hoboy? What do we learn about 1876, the year Jack London was born, and the year of the 1876 World's Fair in Philadelphia? What is a coreless engine? Hint, look to the left on the slide. And how does Professor Ticci use it as an example in her lecture? Who were Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Vanderbilt? What was Jack London's early jobs? What were Jack London's early jobs? What do we learn about Jack London's stepfather and his mother? What was the most fascinating thing you learned about from this lecture? And what questions did you have after watching it? All right, your study questions for the first 5 chapters are: who is Saxon? What do we learn about her character? Who is Mary? How is she different than Saxon? The opening chapter is set in a laundry sweatshop. Describe what it is like to work in this environment. Use evidence from the text to support your answer. Who are bricklayers? Who does Saxon live with? And what is the home like? Why is Sarah so upset? What is a prairie schooner? What is Weasel Park? Describe in detail what it looked like and what people did once they were there. Who is Bert? How does Saxon describe God, and how does Mary describe God on page 11? And why do you think they have different views? What is a teamster? Who is Billy? How does Saxon feel when she meets him? What is prize fighting? What do you predict will happen next? All right, and finally, for your conversation this week, it's worth double points, so 20 points are available, so please put some serious effort into this. I know that you guys will. I'd like you to choose one of the topics listed below, and please note that once someone has posted on one of these topics, you may not post on the same topic. In fact, if you do post something after someone else has posted something on one of these topics, you will not get credit for your post. So make sure before you choose a topic that no one else has posted on it. There are less topics than there are people in this class, so if everything has been accounted for, if everyone has posted on everything, then the opportunity arises to post on something a second time. But I will be looking at the date stamps to make sure everything is first represented. So after you choose a topic, then you're going to do research on the topic. There's 2 things you want to be able to find. You want to find 3 to 5 photos to share. And when you find the photos, I don't want you to just Google and find photos. I'd like you to actually go into 2 visual databases. The first one is called ArtStore, and you can see the URL is right here on the right-hand side. And the other one is called Calisphere. These are great. This is from University of California, and it's a really great resource for visual information. You can also get information about Jack London on the Jack London online collections or special collections, and the URL is there, and the research databases at our library. I also encourage you to go to the library if you can, and meet with Nancy or Stephanie to talk about the topics that you are going to be writing about. You're going to find 3 to 5 photos to share. You may have to post those separately depending on your ability to embed them in the post. You need to write 2 paragraphs that introduce the topic to the class. Everything is about circa early 1900s except for the Saxons and the Anglo-Saxons. So Whatever you're researching, you're expected to research it in regards to the early 1900s. Please post your own post by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. and respond to at least 3 of your peers' posts by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. If you have any questions about this, please ask me. Send me an email, give me a call at 707-256-7748, or stop by my office on Monday or Tuesday next week. So this is where we're at in our research project, the presentation, The World of the Valley of the Moon. It's not really a presentation for us because we're online, but next week I will begin talking to you guys about your research prospectus. Please make sure you turn in your narrative essay today. Remember, the second 50 points are, you can get your second 50 points based on the revisions that we went over in our conferences. Alright guys, that's it for this week. I look forward to seeing you online. Please let me know if you have any questions.